Bosses of Reddit, what's the worst employee you've ever had to deal with? Had an employee place sick for 2 weeks, sending us daily emails to update us on his condition. At the same time, his music band was posting photos on Facebook of their performances in Hawaii. I have had this problem. I have employees on off shifts that have posted repeatedly at times when I know they are on the clock, or, worse, posted long rants about their coworkers. Seriously, if you are going to friend your boss, use some discretion. I was wary of him from the start because we required a copy of his diploma to officially hire him, and it took him 4 weeks to produce it even though he graduated from a local university. I can get a copy of my diploma multiple states away in less than 5 business days. Before he even officially started with us, I had already given him the nickname, the Bamboozler. I really wanted to show up at one of his local performances and hold up a sign with the company logo and the words, "You're fired." We once had a guy working for us who tried to swat a wasp with a sledgehammer. The wasp flew on his face, so he hit himself in the face with a sledgehammer, then tried to sue the company for not telling him swatting wasps with a giant fucking hammer was a dumbass thing to do in health and safety talks. He lost the case and the wasp got away. Source: I work in a civil engineering company. Yes, you do not have to be a civil engineer or have anything close to a degree to work in civil engineering company. My dad had a similar incident with an employee. He tried to get a bee off his leg with an industrial power washer. Not kidding. The force of the spray literally sliced his leg wide open. I think he was smart enough to know that it was his fault, though. The guy who told me he didn't think women had a place in science. 6 months later, I was promoted to his supervisor. Girl comes in as a waitress. Would take food out of the window because she thought it was hers and wouldn't bother to wait for the whole order to be finished to check that it's hers. She would take it out to her table and realize it wasn't hers, chuck it, ask for new stuff because the cooks messed it up, and fuck up another waitress' orders by throwing them away. Then she asked for change for $100. She received $100 in change to make change for her one table. Instead of counting it out, she hands the entire $100 back to the woman, who leaves with it all. The girl was $80 short at the end of the night. Normally it would come out of her pay, but our boss covered it in the meantime and told her to pay her back. Weeks go by, still hasn't paid our boss back. My boss gets persistent about it, and so the girl goes and talks to her mom about it. My mom says we all make mistakes and I shouldn't have to pay for my mistakes, was her response. Eventually it resulted in the girl suing our boss for $80 that our boss scammed out of her, and then she had a meltdown about working 12 hours a week, stating that it was too much for her, and why doesn't anyone understand? I'm not gonna lie, I celebrated when she quit. I worked as a supervisor for a catering company when I was in college. We had this guy who might have been the dumbest person I have ever met. I remember we had to label dishes the cooks sent out to know what went where without uncovering them. I asked him to label a breakfast, and he misspelled every word. The worst, however, is late one night we were cleaning up and I asked him to mop the kitchen before we locked up. I was in the office doing paperwork and a horrible acrid smell started filling the kitchen area. I told everyone to get out and started looking for the source. Turns out this idiot decided to mop the floor with bleach and ammonia. I kicked the bucket into the drain and went outside, coughed for 45 minutes and ended up in the ER. The owner of the company was so desperate she refused to fire him, so I gave my 2 weeks. A few months later I hear the guy T-boned another driver with a catering truck trying to run a red light at an intersection. The resulting lawsuit ended up shutting the business down. Sounds like he was illiterate. Like he might have been stupid too, but did he know about bleach plus ammonia equals death? Could he even read the labels? No, the guy could read. He was just stupid. No, like retarded, just rock freaking dumb. My favorite is the guy twice my age that thinks he can undermine me because of the age. They put me in this job for a reason, Haas. Calm the fuck down and do what I asked. I was a call center supervisor. I had to fire people for various reasons. Among them are the following. 1. One of my team members had a customer send a payment directly to him at his home fucking address. 2. One agent stole a customer's American Express black card hashtag and proceeded to ring up a total of $250,000 worth of charges in 2 days' time. 3. One of my team members ran a scam for 6 months. Each day she would write down a customer's credit card number. She would then use it to buy lunch for herself and her friends each day and have her friends just give her cash. She would order the food to be delivered to the office and pay over the phone. She would have gotten away with it too, however she turned 21 2 weeks before being redeployed. For her 21st B-day she rented the Pittsburgh Party Bus, which is a bus limo with a fully stocked bar, and they drive you around to all the different clubs with admission already paid for. There were 15 people on the bus at around $100 a person. I'm a security supervisor. I came in one morning and found the night shift guard asleep, with an empty vodka bottle beside him. This shit wasn't just hard, it was fucking solid. I walked around him, set up my computer, filled in the paperwork to get him off site, called control, waited an hour for the company to send a rep down, drank a coffee, all without this fucker doing more than snoring or farting. When he was cleaning out his locker, a whole bunch of empties fell out. He hadn't even had the sense to toss them. There was another guy we dealt with, in the same place, where a checkbook went missing from the client's desk. I saw him out during his shift one day, which in itself was a no-no, in a check cashing place in town. I went over to say hi, and he tried to clock me when he spotted me coming. Turns out he'd been using the client's checkbook to supplement his wages. My dad fired a guy because on top of being an incompetent carpenter, he would not stop looking down the barrel of a nail gun every time it jammed. Sounds like your dad probably saved him a future injury. We hired an ex-animal activist once. We work at McDonald's. I am imagining a meat is murder, would you like fries with that scenario. You're not far off. If you can think about it, she did it. A few years back I made some changes to our employee manual, so I put a couple copies in the break room for everyone to read if they wanted. The next day, one guy from the shipping department, who had worked there for over 10 years, walked into the main office and punched another guy who he had been having a little feud with for years right in the side of the face. Caught him totally off guard, knocked him out of his chair and onto the floor. The shipping department guy then walks out of the office and goes back to his job like nothing happened. Police were called, gave him a citation, and I told him to grab everything and he was done. He got all upset because he had been reading the new employee manual and one part had said if there was a problem with an employee they would be verbally reprimanded, then suspended from work, and if it continues they would be fired. He assumed he could punch the other guy in the face twice without being fired. That's why you have to be really specific with written guidelines. A girl who started dating my best employee. Then she started beating him. Of course he told nobody because of the stigma of being an abused man. I didn't find out till his friend showed up one day and started yelling at her when they were both on shift. I lost my best employee because he quit and had a nervous breakdown. I still worry and hope he's okay. I fired the girl on the spot and she didn't understand why she was getting sacked. The story was backed up by multiple other individuals who finally came forward before anyone asks. Afterwards it came out that she was also secretly bullying another employee. This one really messed me up too because I felt like I'd failed as a supervisor. I had asked about his bruises, but he always had an excuse, wiped out on his bike, weekend DIY project. As someone who'd been in an abusive relationship myself, I felt even more guilty for not seeing signs. I had this wacko who worked for me at a company is a home improvement warehouse. She told everyone in the store that she had a brain tumor and was going to have emergency surgery for it on a Saturday. The following Monday she strolls in back to work. We were expecting her to be out for a rather long time. We had arranged for flowers and get well cards and had her shifts covered for the week. We asked her if she had surgery. Oh yeah? They removed the tumor. Did I mention that she had all of her hair? No? Oh well, she had all of her hair. Not to mention she actually came into work. To describe her lying as pathological is doing the word an injustice. Fun fact, some brain tumors can be removed through the nose, no scalping needed. They do not, however, go back to work in a day's time. Source: my roommate had this surgery done. Back when I was a manager at a pretzel place, we noticed when we had this girl on the register that the drawer would always come up short, so we were watching her. We were between paychecks at the time, and she had mentioned she was broke. She went on break as we were counting the drawer and we discovered we were $125 short. She came back with new shoes and was talking about how cute they looked, and we asked her, "How much were your shoes?" About $125. And I will always remember her shocked, genuine look of surprise as she said, "How did you know?" This thread is making me sad. I'm well-groomed, non-crazy, hard-working and punctual, and would probably never hit myself in the head with a sledgehammer, and after getting laid off at the end of December, I've had zero luck finding a job. But all these nutcases managed it somehow. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.